Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back on another reaction video. Today we're going to be checking out another new drop from, this is a new artist to me. This is YaBoi Dirty. I hadn't checked him out yet, but NuBreed's got a feature on it, as well as Syni, Styxx. I don't know them either, but we're going to check it out because we support our boy NuBreed. Let's dig in and see what's up. It's got a somber feel to it, right?
Forgive me, son. I've made my mistakes, but what's done is done. Forgive me, son. A life of hurt and a life of pain. I know you're numb and I feel the same. One day you'll know just how hard it was. Forgive me, son. And I know.
Why are you taking the food from the baby? You done made him feed himself? Like, I've been there, right? When you got to get up and feed yourself and you're like 5 or 6 years old. Like, my brother almost burnt down the house one time. I was 5, he was 3. And I was trying to cook breakfast and he put a jack-in-the-box on the stove. And he caught the house on fire. Like, we almost, yeah. And, I mean, that's just how life was. You just had to do what you had to do.
And I know you're hurting, and I know you see how much I'm hurting, 'cause you're just a part of me. You see me crying, inside I'm dying. It's like this pain won't leave. It's never spoken, but I know you're broken by them songs you sing. Forgive me, son. Forgive me, son. I made my mistake, but what's done is done. Forgive me, son. A life of hurt and a life of pain. I know you're numb and I feel the same. One day you'll know just how hard it was. Forgive me, son.
Alright, so before we get into this next verse, that's hot, right? Like, this is some real deal shit right here. What's going on right here is some real deal shit. And there's not a lot of spots for me to stop it. There's not a lot of spots for me to talk about it. But way too many of us have grown up in poverty. We have grown up with parents that just didn't care or didn't have the time or couldn't invest or wouldn't invest in us. And that's a terrible thing. But what is happening here is a beautiful thing, because this is a man who has come up from it, right? He come up out the mud like too many of us have done. And now he's looking back on his life and he's forgiving his parent. That's what's happening right here. Is he's giving the forgiveness in this song. He is saying to his dad, I at least am trying to understand where you came from and that it was hard for you. And that, like, I talk about that a lot. Sometimes our parents can't make it good for us. Sometimes they had it so rough that all they can do is make it less bad for us. And sometimes they don't try. That is a real thing for a lot of people. But sometimes the parents just trying to make it less bad in the only way that they can. And we have to try and get it in our minds that they weren't always, some people do, but they weren't really trying to mess us up. They were just so messed up and didn't know how to deal with it. And so now, if we can realize that, we can work on us so that we don't pass that shit on, right? Like, I didn't pass that on. Both my kids have graduated high school. They were both well on their way to establishing themselves as functioning human beings, and they're both wonderful people, right? Because I realized the pattern that had fallen upon me, and I broke that shit. Because I made the choice to break that shit. It is broken in my family chain. That is a blessing beyond understanding if you haven't been there. Like, my kids never got beat. They never went hungry. They were never too cold, right? Like, I get to say those things about my family. They always have food, right? We went through some tough shit. Like, that, my kids have been through some tough shit, but they were always provided for. And it wasn't because I made shitty choices, right? That's not why we were in tough spots. We were in tough spots because of life circumstances, a wreck, right? That I wasn't even at fault for. I got rear-ended. So, like, what I'm saying is that you can choose to break that. And the way that you do that is by recognizing it. And what he is doing here is so beautiful because he is recognizing it. And he is vocalizing it in a way that a lot of people are going to be able to identify with this one. A lot of people are going to be able to look at this and say, yeah, that was my life. And then they're going to be able to look at it and say, I never thought of it that way before. And that's a beautiful thing, and I love it. So we're going to back this up, and we're going to let your boy get his whole bit in. Right? I'm assuming that this is Styxx, so let's dig in.
I just had to be the life of the party. It was all me. I destroyed peace, and I'm sorry. I don't blame you.
I destroyed peace, and I'm sorry.
It was all me. I destroyed peace, and I'm sorry. I don't blame you. I'd avoid me too. Everything with this selfishness don't cost me. I ain't know no better, I was living hardly. But every step I took, I held you in my heartbeat. I found abuse, became recluse, and all my demons I looked up to. I was young, while you was growing up, I was growing up too. In the slum, didn't know what to do. Didn't have a clue, depressed and numb. I'm a baby too. Gave away the proof, then I was gone.
That's my point, right? That's what I'm just talking about. And this is another wonderful expression of it, y'all. Y'all know how I am, and if I'm stopping it, I'm loving it, right? If I've got something to talk about, this is right. Like, your parents were children. Like, for too many of us, that's a real thing, right? Some of us, our parents really were children, and they grew up with the responsibility of us, and that's tough, right? I can't imagine. Like, my mama got married at 16, had me at 18, and was divorced by 19. She was in her second marriage at 20 and divorced again by 22. Like, that's tough, right? Like, my dad, she didn't know my dad was a drug runner when she married him. She didn't know my brother's dad was a bank robber when she married him. Like, she found that out along the way. My mom didn't mean to get into those situations, but it happened, and it was real. Like, that's real shit. And so, like, but she was a kid. She was running from something, and my dad was there promising her something. And so she accepted the promise, and she got shit on, and it was terrible. Like, but he was really a kid too. Like, he was significantly older than her. She was 16 and he was 22, I think, when they got married. And so, like, he should have been grown, but he wasn't. He was still, like, he's just now stopped chasing those things that drag you down. Some people never grow out of being a kid, but they were kids, and we got to give them that leeway sometimes too. Like, maybe not. Maybe your mom and dad was 35 and they were responsible and they were still shitty, and that's a real thing too. But for a lot of them, they're just growing up too. They're just trying to figure it out too. Right? I'm on the backside of it. I had my kids, but the whole time I was just trying to figure it out. The whole time I was just trying to figure it out. And I made some promises to myself on the front end. Like, when I got past the dope, right? We talked before, like, I did an 8-ball with my daughter in the bouncy seat next to me. And I was like, you know what? I'm a piece of shit. And I decided to change my life, right? And I made promises then that I would be there in ways that nobody was there for me. And I have been. And we get to do that. That's how we break them curses.
Know what to do. Didn't have a clue to press the norm. I'm a baby too. Gave away the proof, then I was gone. And I admit I'm wrong right now. Say you forgive me and I let you be alone. No more calling the phone. My heart hurting, pain in my soul. That just God working. Wish I could get another chance, but all you get is one, and it's done, so it's none.
Forgive me.
That's the other thing. You don't get another go-round, bro. You are here to learn lessons, and every shitty thing that has ever happened to you has happened to you for a reason, and it is tough to hear that, especially if you're in the moment now, but even the shitty things serve a purpose. I talk about that a lot in other places, but we are here to learn things, and sometimes the things we have to learn suck. And that's just the long and the short of it. What you get out of that and what you make out of that is what you become. You get to choose that. You don't get to choose, hey, some shit's about to happen, right? You're about to get whatever it is, and it's going to get really bad. You don't get to choose that. But you get to choose how you react to that. You get to choose how you perpetuate the things that come out of that, because cycles have to be broken when they start. You can break it, but the farther along the chain that you get, the harder it is to break that cycle. But if you get the chance to break one of them cycles, break it. Saw that shit in half, throw the pieces to the wind. And it's like turning your life to God is the best way to do it. Like that happens quickly then.
Forgive me, son. I made my mistakes, but what's done is done. Forgive me, son. A life of hurt and a life of pain. I know you're numb and I feel the same. One day you'll know just how hard it was. Forgive me, son.
I was hoping you could hear this first. Now it's a little too late.
Daddy, do you love me? Do you ever think of me? Deep down inside, do you wish you could hug me? Cause sometimes it bugs me and sometimes it cuts me. Deep down inside, cause I feel so damn ugly. My other friends go fishing all the time. They go hunting with a daddy. I'm just wishing it was mine. I go hunting for you, daddy. I just hope you find the time. I've been wanting for you, daddy. I just want what is mine. Like a kiss on the cheeks, just a little piece of mind.
Just the smallest little piece to show that it's so sad what we do, right? It is so sad the way that we make choices and break these children. Now, I firmly believe that there is a reason for the breaking, but I don't believe that the breaking always has to happen, right? Like, this is tough, man. This is tough.
Daddy, I just want
like I walked him. I will get to
what is mine. Like a kiss on the cheeks, just a little piece of mind. Tuck me in when I sleep, tell me everything is fine. Tell me I can reach for the stars and the sky, to the mountains and the peaks and the sun when it shines. I'm your son when you rise, I'm your son till you die. Yes, I come from your blood like these tears in my eyes. All these years done went by and I ain't heard from you none, but all I wanna hear is
Forgive me, son.
Your boy knocked that out the park too. Like I've said so much already that I don't really have a whole lot left to say. This is beautiful, and I love the fact that it is being done. I love the verses; they have all been great. I love everybody involved in this. This is a wonderful thing.
Forgive me, son.
But y'all shoot some extra prayers for NuBreed, because if you don't know what's going on there, he lost his wife, and that is something that I don't even want to contemplate.
I made my mistakes, but what's done is done. Forgive me, son. A life of hurt and a life of pain. I know you're numb and I feel the same. One day you'll know just how hard it was. Forgive me, son.
That was absolutely beautiful. Y'all make sure y'all get back over to NuBreed's page and give me a like, share, and a sub. Throw him a comment and let him know you appreciate what he is doing. I do, right? I love these independent artists because they dig into these real topics. They talk about these things that are actually important in our lives. There is nothing more important than forgiving somebody for the wrongs that they have done you. It's not for them. It can be, right? Some people need that closure of, I forgive you for this thing that you've done. But you need that for you. It cleanses your soul of a poison to forgive someone for something that they did. Even if they don't ask for forgiveness, even if they don't ever come seeking it, you need to forgive them in your heart. Because if not, then you're holding a place for hate in your heart. And that place for hate is where things fester and boil. And it becomes anger, and it becomes resentment, and it becomes lust, and it becomes pride. And it becomes all of the sins that can drag you down. Because hate is the root, right? That's the antithesis of love. If hate is love unreturned is how the saying goes, but it's the opposite of loving your neighbor. When you're holding that hate in your heart, you're creating negativity on purpose. You're deciding, hey, I want to create negativity in my life. I want to hold on to resentment in my life, and you can't do that. Some of us have been through some pretty shitty childhoods. A lot of the problems that happened in my childhood can be directly attributed to my dad. The fact that he decided that running drugs was more important than his child and his wife. He made that decision. That was literally the decision he had to make. It was either me and my mom or running the drugs. And he made his decision. And he wound up in prison behind that. Well, not behind that. There was other reasons. But he spent most of my life in prison. Right? Most of my childhood anyway. And most of the terrible things that happened to me happened because of that. Like my childhood started at rape and went downhill from there. And so it got pretty shitty for a long time. And most of that can be directly laid to the fact that my dad wouldn't quit running drugs. And that he made decisions. I don't hold resentment towards him for any of that. Like, all of the shitty things that happened in my life made me into the person I am now and helped me to craft my children into the most wonderful people you'll ever meet. Both of them are strong in their convictions and willing to stand up for somebody else. Both of them are fully capable of doing it. And so I have succeeded in raising good kids. Now, their life is theirs from this point out. They can make decisions from this point that completely negates everything that I've ever taught them, but they won't. Because I have been so firmly entrenched in their life that they can't see it without me. That was my intention. I want to be so fully invested in my wife and my children that there is no doubt in the entirety of the world where my priorities lie with that. There is no doubt whatsoever in my wife and my children's mind that they are my priority. And to me, that's a win. But it would not be possible if I did not forgive my dad for the things that he chose to do. If I didn't forgive the people that assaulted me over the years and forgive them without ever putting my eyes on them again, without them ever once telling me that they are sorry for the things that happened to me. They are forgiven. I have no resentment or grudges towards them whatsoever. If I saw them today, I would not feel anger. That's for me. That's to cleanse that poison from me. It's good to do it for them, if you can, but that's not what it's for. Forgiveness is for you, to cleanse your soul from all of the things that can hold you back. And I'm going to wrap this up here. This was great. I love it. All three of y'all did a wonderful job. YaBoi Dirty and Syni Styxx. This is my first time hearing y'all, and I am impressed. It's great stuff. NuBreed, as always, good stuff. I'm loving it. Thank you for this. And y'all make sure y'all shoot up some extra prayers, because that's what we do over here, right? We pray for people. Y'all make sure y'all get back, give them a like, share, and a sub. Throw them a comment. Let them know you appreciate what they're doing, because I do. And the link is always provided down below. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You're perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pitt State. Peace.